Let me ask you something. Who are you competing with? If you own a CrossFit gym, you probably named a few other CrossFit gyms in your market. Maybe you're a boutique gym that just opened nearby. Maybe you're a big box gym that has dropped their prices. In my case, with my home gym Regenix, maybe you're competing against CrossFit Signal Hill. Maybe you're Cura Fit, maybe you're competing against 1440 Athletics. Every gym has competition. Every business has competition. And Sharp addresses it with this. Once you know that the competition is there and who is really there, it will change the way you go about your marketing and positioning. This is chapter 6. Let's get into it. The most conventional marketing wisdom on competition is built around category thinking. For example, you're a CrossFit gym. You compete with other CrossFit gyms. You study what they charge, you know what they offer, you know how they market, and you differentiate yourself within the same category. And then you find your angle and own it. And that is how most gym owners define their competitive landscape. But that's far too narrow. What Sharp says is that your competition is bigger than you can imagine. Sharp's research shows that buyers do not think about competition and categories the same way that marketers do. A Coca-Cola buyer is not just choosing between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They're choosing between Coca-Cola, Pepsi, water, juice, coffee, sports drink, and nothing at all. The same buyer may have purchased Coca-Cola on Monday and purchased a Pepsi on Friday. And it's not because they're disloyal. It's because both options satisfied the same need at different moments. Sharp writes, brands compete in a market defined by customer needs, not by product categories. The real competitive set is whoever else could be hired to do the same job. And that last phrase is key. Whoever else could be hired to do the same job. And this leads me to one of my favorite articles on the topic, Jobs to be Done by Clayton Christensen. Christensen is a Harvard Business School professor and one of the most influential business thinkers in the last 50 years. He developed a concept called Jobs to be Done. And the core idea is this, that people do not buy products. They hire them to do a job. When someone is hungry, the job is to eliminate the hunger. They could hire McDonald's, they could hire KFC, they could hire Pizza Hut, they could go to a grocery store, they could go to a food truck, they could use their own kitchen. All of those options are competing to do the same job. And whichever is the most available and the most satisfying for the moment gets hired. Now apply that to your gym. When someone decides they want to get fit, the job is get me in shape. Help me feel better, give me the structure, give me community, give me something that I will actually show up for. So who are the candidates for that job? Get me in shape. There's your CrossFit gym. There's the CrossFit gym that's 2 miles down the road. There's the Pilates studio. There's Orange Theory. There's 24-hour fitness up the block. There's Peloton bikes that may be sitting in their living room. There's YouTube workout channels they can go to. There's Zumba. And you know what? There's even the running shoes that they bought and never used. Every single one of those is competing for the same job. Get me in shape. CrossFit gyms are not only competing against CrossFit gyms. They're competing against every other solution that could be hired to do the job of getting someone fit. And that changes everything about how you go about doing your marketing. You are not trying to out CrossFit your nearest competitor up the street. You're trying to be the most available, the most memorable, and the most frictionless option for a job that dozens of other products and services are also interviewing for. And what makes it even more complicated is this. Sharp points out that large companies often compete against themselves within their own product lines. Meaning different products that are targeting different segments of the same market end up pulling from the same pool of buyers. I'll use the Coca-Cola example again. Coca-Cola has different products, Coke, Pepsi, orange soda, whatever. And whenever they are putting out a product, their pool of customers may stop drinking Coca-Cola to drink a Coca-Cola product. Therefore, there's competition even within the same brand and company. For a CrossFit gym, this is not abstract. It's happening right now inside of your business. And that's personal training versus group classes. Hypothetically, you offer both. They are both fitness solutions. They are both designed to help people get in shape. They both satisfy that job. But they are fundamentally different products with different price points and different time commitments and different experiences. The member who is on the fence about committing is evaluating both simultaneously. Personal training probably feels more personalized, it's more accountable, and it's very targeted. Group classes feel more affordable, more social, and more flexible. They're not choosing between your gym and another gym at that moment. They're choosing between two of your own products. And if you have not thought about how those two products are positioned relative to each other, meaning which one is right for an entry point for a fringe buyer and which one is the right upgrade for your loyal member, you are letting the internal competition happen without any strategy on how to leverage it. The fringe buyer who is not ready to commit to unlimited group classes might be the perfect candidate for a personal training package to begin with. The loyal member who has been coming 5 days a week for 2 years might be the perfect candidate to add personal training on top of their membership. They might get a different fitness experience out of it. They're two completely different conversations requiring two completely different marketing approaches. Two challenges and two opportunities. And they're both happening inside your four walls. Going back to the jobs to be done, there's this concept called satisficing. And that is going to tie all of this together. We're going to play with that word, satisficing. It is coined by the Nobel Prize-winning economist Herbert Simon, and this was way back in 1956. It's a combination of two words, satisfy and suffice. Satisficing. Satisfy means to meet the need or desire fully. And suffice is to be good enough and adequate for the purpose. Therefore, satisficing is the decision-making strategy where a person accepts the first option that is good enough rather than searching for an exhaustively for an optimal solution. People will either optimize or satisfice. And typically when there's a higher commitment or the commitment is going to take place over a longer period of time, people are more likely to optimize than they are to satisfice. Therefore, there's an opportunity for you if you can have a low commitment option that brings people into the door, something that will satisfy them and be efficient enough for them to be able to join your gym. You then beat out the competition for that job of getting people in shape. Going back to an example we made earlier with the punch cards. You don't have to have a personalized training solution for someone. You can have 30-minute classes. You can have personal training on stretching, something that's low effort and yields high result that satisfies and suffices the need to get people into shape. That way you lower the barrier of entry again, so you can bring in more people and expand your brand. All of that has to be done after you properly understand the needs of your market. Once you have all that together, you then open up the opportunities for you to get more people into your gym and to make more money. Simon's research shows us that satisficing is not a failure of human decision making. It's actually the dominant strategy for almost every decision we make. because optimizing is expensive. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes cognitive effort that most people are not willing to spend on most decisions. So instead of asking, what is the absolute best fitness solution available to me in this market, people will ask for something far simpler. And that will be what comes to mind and what is easiest to access. Thirdly, what's good enough to get this job done. You see how there's a bit of a through line here between all these chapters? We need to do a job. That job must be satisfied. People will look at their different options to do that thing. Is it going to be mentally available? And is it going to be physically available? Then they'll do it. People do not go looking for the best option. They go looking for a good enough option. And they hire the first one that comes to mind and that is easy to reach. For your gym, Satisficing means this. You don't have to be objectively the best CrossFit gym in your market. Now, if that gives you pause and you go, oh, that's weird, don't do that. That's for a good reason. Because right now, there are probably gyms around you that are offering less quality coaching and a less quality experience who are getting more people because they understand these concepts. You don't have to objectively be the best in your market to get attention or new clients. You don't have to be the best coaches. You don't have to have the best programming. You don't have the best equipment. You don't even have to have the best priced. You have to be good enough to get the job done and mentally available enough that you are the name that comes to mind when someone in your market decides that they're finally going to do something about their fitness. And you'll be physically available enough that when they decide to act, the path to your door has no friction. Good enough plus available beats perfect every single time. Now, if that bothers you, it should. Because we're oftentimes taught that we need to be putting ourselves to do our best, be the best, give our best effort all the time. And you would be right. And unfortunately, just by the way of the world, many people who are giving a half-assed effort are winning because they know how to play the game. And knowing how to play the game means being mentally and physically available. Now, do with that as you will. I hate that's the case, but it is what it is. I'll give you an example, and I'm breaking script for this. I was at an event at some point in time, and someone got up to discuss marketing and the use of AI. Now again, I am not an advocate for using end-to-end marketing agencies through AI because, again, they don't do the market research that you need. They pull in ads, creatives, and copy from across multiple industries. That's not going to suit your audience. Even if you were to put in your stuff on Meta, like directly, their AI will detract from the effectiveness of your ads. They don't do your branding the way you need to, so you communicate who you are. None of that happens. They create ads, they push them through the different platforms so they get out there. I think we've wildly oversold AI as an end-to-end marketing platform. We jumped too soon. But I digress. This person gets up there and they're talking about the use of end-to-end marketing and AI. And I'll tell you what, they didn't even mention the end-to-end marketing and AI. They didn't talk about the use of AI tools. They didn't talk about how AI can make your job easier. They said, essentially, remember to be you, be a thought leader, and use AI to make sure you're posting things on time. And as a person who runs a AI-augmented marketing, advertising, and branding business, with all of the work that we've done to lay out all the steps, build the brand, do all of these things, reach all the people, I wanted to jump out of my seat because I realized that what was going on right in front of me wasn't even a tenth. It wasn't a fifth. It couldn't hold a candle in a windstorm to what we could do. The quality of this product that this person was talking about was so abysmally piss poor that I was appalled to see it and be sitting down in the audience watching this person spew this bull that was going to ruin her reputation and these other people's businesses. And at the end of her presentation, she got up and asked who's interested, and I watched 3 people pay $1,000 each because they bought it at a discount. She just sold them a piss poor product. One that couldn't come up to ours even close. One that was abysmally poor by comparison. And I watched her make $3,000 in 10 minutes. Why? Because she was mentally available and I was not. Given she was invited to be the keynote speaker. She was mentally available and I wasn't. And when it came time to close the deal, she was physically available. I wasn't. And that's the power of this. That's the power. You need to be physically and mentally available and realize that there are people competing against you who may be you. And it may be every alternative to what you're offering. Your competition is not who you think it is. The buyers are not optimizing. They are satisficing. And the gym that wins is not the best one in the market. Let me tell you. It is the one that is good enough and impossible to miss. And that is chapter 6. Subscribe. You'll see the next one. Chapter 7 is coming out tomorrow. If you're ready to understand the full competitive landscape and build a brand that wins it, come find us at enochmarketing.com. Our technology does the research for you. So when we talk about you and your competitors and your market, we already do the analysis on who's in your market, who's interested, how much money they earn, how available they are, do they have kids, and all of your competitors, to include other CrossFit gyms, boutique gyms, bodybuilding gyms, global gyms, all of it. We do all that research for you so that when you step forward, you can make the most educated decisions for your business. That got passionate. My name is Colin. This is Enoch Marketing. We will see you for chapter 7. I'm going to go get a drink.